curtain going up on screen time, an occasional behind-the-scenes look at the movies. We're delighted to welcome Turner Classic Movies host Ben Mankiewicz, himself a member of a distinguished Hollywood family, as our guide.
Here's the pitch. A Coney Island kid with nothing to lose strikes it big as a Hollywood kingmaker.
I got it. Yeah.
For the man on the phone, it's not a story to sell, it's his life. And as a producer and director, now 88,
That's the scripts of all the movies I made.
it's one he's scripted himself for more than half a century. Tell us your name.
Irwin Winkler.
What do you do for a living?
I make movies.
Yeah, he makes movies all right. For 52 years, Winkler has backed, bankrolled, and brought to the screen better than 50 films. Maybe you've heard of a few. Rocky. Raging Bull. The Right Stuff. Goodfellas.
My films have won 12 Academy Awards. We've been nominated for 55, I think, yeah.
55?
Yeah.
An impressive number, especially considering the random way he got into the business. After serving in the Army, Winkler says he had no earthly idea what to do with his life, but he was reading a bestseller by Harold Robbins, and somehow Irwin Winkler found his calling.
I read The Carpetbaggers, and in it there was a character that was an agent. I thought it was kind of interesting. The guy was wearing a black suit and a white shirt and a tie, and why not?
Winkler became an agent and then quickly started producing films.
One couple and only one will waltz out of here.
One of his first was 1969's They Shoot Horses, Don't They?
No fights on the floor.
Starring Jane Fonda as a contestant in a dance marathon during the Great Depression.
So why California?
You don't freeze while you're starving.
It earned 9 Academy Award nominations.
When I read that script, I said, this is really a story worth telling.
A few years later, Winkler is sitting in his Los Angeles office when an unknown actor named Sylvester Stallone walks in looking for work. Winkler doesn't have a part for him, but then Stallone says something interesting.
He says, by the way, I'm also a writer. Well, I don't know what a writer looks like, but he certainly wasn't it.
And he didn't sound like a writer.
His body language was more like a fighter than a writer.
But Stallone had an intriguing idea.
He told us the story about Rocky.
Rocky, it's the chance of a lifetime. You can't pass it by.
He said, I'll write the script for nothing. There's only one thing. If you like it, you have to star me in the film. We gave the script to the studio, and they called and said, you know what? Why did you want to make a movie about this broken down fighter? You want to shoot in Philadelphia? Nobody's interested in Philadelphia. And you want to star who? Sylvester Stallone?
Right, a no-name actor and he loses in the end.
And he loses.
Rocky loses, but everyone involved with the movie wins. Rocky becomes, by far, the highest-grossing movie of 1976, the only one to break $100 million. What do we have right here?
We have a little fella called Alaska.
And Winkler and his partner Bob Chartoff won Best Picture and invited Stallone up on stage with them. Next, Winkler takes on another boxing picture, Raging Bull, with Robert De Niro as middleweight champ Jake LaMotta, this time working with a director who would become a longtime collaborator, Martin Scorsese.
Marty is never afraid to do anything that's different. He has no fear.
I saw him work telephones and make deals like in 15 minutes that were amazing.
Really?
Maneuvering and working very clever aspects of different deals and different actors. And if he couldn't get it done, I don't know who would.
Case in point. Scorsese wanted Raging Bull shot in black and white. The studio balked. This was 1980, not 1930, but Winkler had his back.
The executives hated the script. We all had a meeting up in Marty Scorsese's apartment.
They were asking about the black and white. And then Irwin pointed out, he said, look at the other 2 films that are in black and white. They were hits, Lenny and Paper Moon. Okay, pull that out. They were coming up to cancel the film.
Right.
But he never let us know that.
That's a good producer.
Yeah.
Henry, this is what Mr. told me over there. Where? Over there.
Oh, thanks a lot.
10 years later, they teamed up again for Goodfellas.
What do you do?
What?
What do you do?
I'm in construction.
telling the story of the rise and fall of mobster Henry Hill. And again, they battled executives who he says pressed for Tom Cruise and Madonna to play the lead roles.
I said, you mean you want Madonna to play the Jewish wife of Henry Hill?
Lorraine Bracco's
Lorraine
part.
Bracco. We said no. Marty started laughing, and we left. And he said, what about Tom Cruise playing Henry Hill? No.
So just to be clear, Warner Brothers wanted Tom Cruise and Madonna
Yes.
in Goodfellas.
Yes.
Winkler says he also wasn't sold on Ray Liotta as Henry Hill.
Had anybody heard of Ray Liotta at that point?
No, especially me.
But Scorsese made a strong
The
case.
story, I was in Venice Film Festival, and Ray came up to me, and the bodyguards went towards him. And the way he handled that, I thought, was very, very telling. There was a slight threat in his body language, countering theirs.
And you liked that?
Yeah. And I said, that's the guy. And I told it to Irwin.
Nearly 30 years after Goodfellas, Winkler, Scorsese, and De Niro are reuniting again. For The Irishman, the film about the disappearance of Jimmy Hoffa,
Whatever you need me to do, I'm available.
also stars Al Pacino and Joe Pesci.
You're proud of The Irishman.
I think it's terrific. And I think it's also the coming together of people that have worked together since we're kids together.
So you actually do most of your writing outside?
Yeah, right out here, I have a kind of a happy chair, and it's quiet, as you can see.
Quiet and quite comfortable at his Beverly Hills home. Winkler doesn't just direct and produce, he writes too.
No thoughts of retiring?
None at all. I'm healthy, my mind is good, I guess, and why not? I think age is just something, it's a number, and it depends on whether the number is going to keep you down or keep you up.